Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Echo.
You got to mute your mic, Schwaber.
Betcha.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Now we're professional.
Yeah. Everything.
Before we were not.
Technical director on the case.
Everything goes wrong. Everything goes wrong. All right. This is the Sports Porch Black and Gold edition. Welcome back. If you are watching us live, you are now watching us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and Instagram in the house. Drop comments all show. We love the interaction. And of course, you can always listen to us. I'm going to drop this comment right there. If you haven't tried this yet, we have a new internet radio station, Radio PGH. You can grab the website at radiopgh.com, but you can also listen where this comment is. So that way, if you're in the car, you can catch us live on the radio.
Absolutely.
And of course, this is a podcast. So I'm going to drop the podcast right after the show. We're going to drop it right after the show. Please subscribe on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. You can't handle the truth.
How do you actually drop it? Do you do you just set it there? Do you like place it?
You know what?
Or do you just slam it down?
You know
like
what I don't understand?
Drop it.
You use the same voice for Jack Nicholson and the Pirate.
Yeah.
Same voice.
It's because it's the only voice I have other than my own.
One's a little scratchier than the other.
So what are we going to do here? Well, Sports Porch Black and Gold. It's pretty simple. We're going to talk about Pittsburgh, black and gold.
Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
The Steelers.
I think we have some angst today.
Yes, the Pirates, the Hockey Jesus is here, the Penguins.
They're starting.
We got a little bit of what we're watching. Mark and I have one. Trader Joe's Snack Time is coming along. Maybe the Grand Schwabini will make a prediction. Maybe he won't. And we also have to catch up on our NFL predictions from last week and for next week. And, of course, we want you all to have a good time with us. So please drop comments, talk to us, spread this around, share it, follow it, listen, leave us a review. Say whatever the hell you want because that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. How are we different? We speak our mind. Yes, we do, because we are not beholden. We are not beholden. So what are we going to do? Let's talk about the Steelers right now. Now, this is what I put. This is what I put up. The Steelers drop a close one to Dallas late game last night. Now, I there was a point at which I didn't think I was going to make it through it, but
really?
I did.
You just have to make it through halftime, really.
Well, I had to constantly go outside and drink like a little half cup of coffee and then smoke a cigar while I was watching it through the window.
Wow.
That kept me going.
You get tired that early. That's surprising.
I do. Well, my wife was out of town too, so I had no
so you were
interruptions.
jerking off. I mean, not literally.
Well, I mean, what?
not literally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you were just goofing around.
So, in other words, what you really meant to say was I was jagging around.
Jagging around.
That's what he meant. That's what he meant.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
There is a difference between.
I did mean that.
Jagging around and jerking
you guys just always go right into the dirt. Into the dirt.
No, this time you dug a deep, dirty hole.
That's what this Steelers game did to you.
Yeah,
well, I mean, I'm probably the only one operating on 3.5 hours of sleep. So,
yeah, because you're so important. So, let's do this. Before we get into the ins and outs of the game, because we all, as always, like a lot of you out there,
we have lots of ins and outs.
Like a lot of you guys do. You all have your own text trains and text groups and all throughout the game. So, let's grade Fields, the receivers, and the D. And then you see that question down there. I want to talk about that. So, Grand Schwabini, grade Justin Fields in this game. Grade Justin Fields. If you need some stats, he was 15 of 27 for 131 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked 3 times for 16 yards. And let's just throw his rushing stats in there. 6 carries for 27 yards with a long rush of 8 yards. Overall, Grade him. Two TDs and a field goal.
What was the completion percentage?
Well, 15 to 27. I mean, do the math.
27.
A little over
like
60%, somewhere in that range.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
I'll give him a B-.
Yeah. You think so? I mean, did he look good or bad?
I thought it wasn't a good game for him.
Right.
I thought, to be honest, actually, the numbers are better than I thought. I thought he played worse than those numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very telling.
I actually would give him like a C+, just because he didn't do anything memorable. He didn't make that long pass. Normally he makes like one long pass, and Justin Fields didn't make that long pass at all. I don't even think he attempted very many.
No, he did, but he missed a couple.
Yeah. So I just felt like, I don't know. I feel like we've seen everything he can do good. I didn't think he had a bad game, but I think he scored that touchdown late to do a pretty good job of getting into the end zone with that shovel pass to Muth.
Yeah.
But they just didn't do enough overall as a team.
That was a risky play, though. Did you see how close the Dallas defender was to knocking that ball away, or even going the other way?
My son actually said something. He was like, "That looked like a Kansas City play," and I was like, "Yeah, it did. It looked like a professional football play where it was like, boy, that's a lot of risk involved there, but it really paid off. It was a good call, It
did.
That's an Andy Reid special.
Yeah.
I've been watching that for years.
You have.
Yeah.
McNabb did it.
They love that.
Yeah, they do.
Never stop it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I think it's the worst.
Yeah.
You're right, though. It was risky, but that was really the only play where it was like, and even that drive was a lot of running. So I just felt like the offense in general had the philosophy of run the ball and pass it sparingly and never really pass it deep. Look,
I felt the opposite.
I'll get to the wide receivers. So I think there's a reason why I'm saying that, and it has to do with the wide receivers. But I'll wait when we grade the wide receiver.
Okay, so you gave him a C,
C+.
I got to tell you, I'm with you. I'm like, if there's a grade between C+ and B-, like that's kind of where I am. Like a C+ is like a 78 or a 79, and a B- is like an 81 or an 80.
Right.
Unless you're grading on a curve. I don't want any comments about that. But comment on what you think Justin Fields' grade was.
You could go like 79.8.
Yeah, right. I'm saying like it's really close to a B-. But I think same thing as you. I have a feeling on the receiver side of the ball.
Yeah,
I think there are some things
to say about that
were missed. So before we go to that, does Justin Fields start next week?
Oh, no. I've always told you that if Russell Wilson is available and healthy, he should be the starter, and I still feel that way. In fact, I feel stronger that way now that they've lost 2 in a row. I feel like this offense needs another jolt, needs another level where they get somebody new in that can rejuvenate this offense, because they need to have that long pass every now and then. And I think against Vegas next week, I think they're going to need to have that long pass more than they did this week.
Yeah, they were talking on the telecast. They were really leading you to believe that the decision was going to be this week. That they were going to make it this week, that he's ready to come back.
That's true. So Wild Herb Ways on YouTube is watching. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Herb.
He comments, bad sign for the Steelers? ? Nope. Steelers right on track for 9-8, 8-9 season, maybe wild card. Mike Lawrence is back. He's here every week. Thanks for being here. Wonder why we can't throw more to Pickens. Tomlin said he wasn't in it all the time because they were managing his snaps. I call BS. We'll talk about that.
Totally agree with you,
and,
Mike.
OC, official Chris Chata, OC on Instagram says, do you think Devontae Adams would help at this point? I don't. So we're going to move on to the receivers here. Grade the receivers, Schwaber.
Geez.
Was that too quick for you?
I mean, well, I'm kind of like laughing because is there a grade above F?
I'll give you some stats. Najee Harris, 2 receptions for 35 yards along a 20. Van Jefferson, when did he appear? 3 for 26. Pickens, 3 for 26. Connor Hayward 2 for 23. Pat Freiermuth 3 for 22. Well, Hayward and Freiermuth with TDs. Nobody else matters.
Do the tight ends count as receivers?
Yeah, let's count them as receivers.
Yeah, we're going to count them as receivers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'll say
they generally receive the ball.
Okay, then I'll say D+.
Okay.
Yeah, I would give them an F, but they did catch 2 touchdown passes.
Right.
So I can't flunk them, but I can give them a D-. So that's where I'm going.
However, just as a side note, I'd give the wide receivers an F.
And Amy May says, do we have...
They caught no touchdown passes. Good point.
Amy May says, do we have receivers? She's catching on.
Well, and to answer OC's question about Devonta Adams, yes, of course he would help. But they're not going to go get him, so there's really no sense talking about it.
No.
But you can watch him play next week when the Vegas throws all over us.
Yeah. So, in other words...
Well, that's not true.
You gave him a D. D-.
D-.
Okay, you gave him...
D+.
D+.
But the wide receivers actually got an F.
The wide receivers F.
Yeah,
the receiving core.
Man. Yeah, I'm actually going to give them an F, and I'll tell you why.
But they caught 2 touchdown passes.
I don't care. I think that there were missed opportunities. I don't think that George Pickens with that, I'm open all the fucking time or always fucking open.
Always open.
Always fucking open is what he wrote on there. Did you see that?
No, he didn't. It didn't say fucking.
I didn't notice this.
Yeah,
it didn't say fucking.
Yeah, it did.
I didn't see anything.
It did.
Okay, somebody sent us a picture.
Pull up the picture and send it. Pull up the picture and send it to me. I'll put it up here. Anyway,
there is no picture.
But
I will. I'll find it.
Yeah, you'll find it. I give him an F because, for example, Darnell Washington, what I did appreciate early in the game.
They threw one to him
is
that you were just pumped up.
And Arthur Smith.
But he wasn't open.
Arthur Smith loves this guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's obvious. He wants to turn him into some kind of force on the offense.
Already.
And he missed. The catch that he missed, he could have hauled in. He could have hauled that.
He wasn't open.
I think so.
No, he wasn't open. I agree with you.
I think they get an F because George Pickens, and I'm gonna go down this route again. George Pickens is a liability on this team.
Wrong.
He is not the answer at wide receiver. I'm sorry, Steelers Nation.
That was the ticker telling you, no, you're wrong.
Yeah. The play at the end of the game where he grabbed the guy's face mask, that tells you all you need to know about George Pickens. He is a sore loser. He is a complainer. He only wants the ball for him. He says, I'm always open. He's not. And he's not producing. He can't run inside routes. They run him to the outside almost all the time. And it's because he doesn't want to run over the middle. I'm more and more convinced that this is a bust of a draft pick. And I am 100% willing to say that I was 100% wrong. Because I want more than ever for George Pickens to step up his game and play like a winner, not a mad toddler. That's what he is. He is a mad toddler. I didn't get the ball. I'm always open. They at the end of the game, he grabs it up. Did you see the clip? I'll let you go in a second. And did you see the clip where the Cowboys defensive back was walking in the locker room and they were videotaping him, and he was probably on an iPhone. He looked at the phone and said, Steelers need to get some receivers, man. That tells you everything you need to know about how that crappy Cowboys defense that had no real starters did against their receivers. They felt no threat whatsoever.
Well, I think
they do play with a lot of swagger.
Here's the bottom line.
Swagger.
Pickens.
They do.
Look, Pickens is very good, but he is a diva. He's going to have a game or two like this every year, and he's going to come back with some big games.
Maybe.
But I think that the problem is actually bigger than Pickens. The problem is the offense and the approach to offense is what's got a diva like Pickens just frustrated beyond belief. And here's what it comes down to. Like this game, okay, this was Mike Tomlin football.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if we can get 17 points, we should be able to win the game by controlling the ball with the run game and with our defense. And that's why when it was the first quarter in the red zone and it was 3rd and 8, they ran the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So they could, they didn't want to have a turnover.
Right.
They wanted to take their safe 3 points. And because they didn't go for a touchdown, imagine you get a touchdown there. Now, all of a sudden, the Cowboys are saying, oh my God, we lost all our good players. We couldn't stop them. It's the whole mental aspect of the game changes. And I think Pickens is just extremely talented. And he knows that if he was on another team that throws the ball a lot more, he would have a lot more opportunities. And, maybe I don't think he's not going over the middle because he doesn't want to. He's not going over the middle because they're not calling it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So the bottom line is the frustration for me is this Mike Tomlin approach to football.
Agreed.
Because the bottom line is, you're never gonna win that way. I mean, it's once in a blue moon that a team can win like that, like the Ravens with Trent Dilfer. It's really hard to win that way.
Yeah,
well,
I agree with you there, Schwab.
And on top of that, it's really a shitty game to watch.
It is.
Yeah.
And the thing that frustrates me is clearly Pickens is their only wide receiver that has any talent, right? I don't know if you guys know this. I doubt it because I've been listening to a lot of radio today because I really wanted to hear what happened. I don't understand why they don't even have Pickens in there on 2 wide receiver sets now. It's like he's the 3rd wide receiver. That's ridiculous. I mean, they're using Cam Hayward. They're using Hayward more as a receiving receiver as a tight end than they are with George Pickens.
Right. Yeah.
That's just dumb. I mean, that's not playing to your only strength. And even if he can't catch the ball, even if they have him out there as a decoy, then you can throw the others. But they don't even have him out there. He was not in on many plays. He was in less plays than Hayward, than Van Jefferson, and Freiermuth on pass plays. That's just dumb. That's just dumb offensive philosophy. Now, I don't know if that's the OC or if that's Tomlin, but I have a feeling it's Tomlin because, like Mike said, it's inexplainable that he would not be in there as little as he was, and they're trying to manage his snap count. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Right. You're taking your best wide receiver and you're saying you're managing his snap count.
Well, that you know what I
by
think
not having him out there on 2 wide receiver sets, that makes no sense.
Well,
to me.
here's what it is. 2 things. First of all, I think Arthur Smith is realizing that the talent level he has to work with now is not that great. Number 1, and number 2, that managing snap count, that is code for Pickens is some hot water.
Right.
Okay. There's no other reason for you to do that.
Just come out and say the guy was
Why would Tomlin do that?
The guy is an asshole and he's not a good team player.
No.
You know who did it? Freiermuth did at the end of the game.
Yeah.
He was talking about teammates, with bad attitudes. Everybody knew who he was talking about.
Yeah. And this is what I've been saying.
And this is the problem with the Steelers organization. They won't take this and turn it into a positive by sitting Pickens down and saying, you need to do what's right. Instead, he probably was in hot water over the tape over his eyes. Somebody noticed it. Tomlin probably noticed it and said, well, we're going to make an example of you when they actually need him. And I don't think that's the right place to do it. You have to do it in the right context. It probably cost them the game by him doing that. And that's just I'm sorry, but that's the wrong thing to do at that time. If he can't manage his own guy, that his own guy is going to go out and put some tape on that knows going to piss off his head coach, he should just get rid of him now. He should trade his ass now for, Darius Slayton from the Giants or somebody, anybody who's an okay wide receiver, because he's just going to continue to be that way. You can't control him. And,
okay, I think there's better ways to control him. Like, for example, if he's having problems during the week, you make him not start, and he sits out the first series, but then he plays the rest of the game.
Okay, so I want to get a couple comments from Instagram here, and I think there's another comment coming in on the other side. Wild Herbway says Tomlin approaches 2010 football with 2025 players, 24 players. Right, 25 too. Pickens will not block on 2 receiver sets. He feels blocking is OL and tight ends, not me. Deontay
That's
Johnson,
what Freiermuth was saying.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant realness on Instagram. They need to give him the ball, bro, period. And we have no other wide receiver options.
I agree with that.
Just G.I. Joe says, we got out-coached, outclassed, outplayed. Bad teams break records and have big games against us. He also says Dallas beat us at Pittsburgh football in Pittsburgh from the Rooney's down. Look in the mirror, ask the tough questions, and he compliments us and says, side note, good work, guys. God bless. Thanks, man. We are asking the tough questions.
That's why
I say
trying to answer that.
I say he's not the answer. By the way, I just wanted to pull this up here on For the Win, which is a sports betting site. George Pickens wrote a very NSFW message on his iTape that backfired.
Well, I sent you a picture of it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it's in your email.
Yeah.
And I do have to address what Mark said about that third down play.
Always. I'll look at it.
Right?
Go ahead, bud.
So he's right. Like it was third and whatever, 10, 8,
right,
12.
Third and 8.
And they could have easily have just thrown it into the end zone to try it. Try and get a touchdown if they're just going to run it to, whoever this running back is that now we have to play because 2 of our 3 running backs are hurt. But did you know that Dallas did the exact same thing later in that game? They did the same thing. It was 3rd and 12. And what did they do? They handed it to the running back and kicked the field goal. And I'm like, well, that was exactly what the Steelers just did. It's like, what is wrong with the NFL teams that they feel like they're okay with kicking field goals now instead of like actually trying to go for it? Are they so risk averse that's just like, well, we'll just take the 3 points?
Well, I think the Cowboys was a little different because it was 12 and not 8. And they also, Dak had like 2 or 3 red zone turnovers. So it was a little different.
I don't know. It seemed like they were doing the same thing. They were waving the white flag.
Okay, so here's Pickens.
What's it say?
You can't see it.
Open fucking always.
I can't see the fucking there.
Yeah, it's there. It's there.
It probably is.
No, it is. It is. I'll tell you what. I'll blow it up for you guys.
You do that. You blow it up.
But it was interesting though. I actually hate with a passion Chris Collinsworth. Mm-hmm. But did you hear his comment on that 3rd and 8 run?
No, I didn't. I missed it.
He goes, he's like, well, that's an interesting play call. I'll tell you what, I'm kind of scratching my head. They must have seen something on tape where they really liked something to run that play.
You're right. I do remember that.
I remember
the way you brought it back to me, I was starting to get a little bit of a convulsion going.
Yeah.
Explain this to me too. And this has nothing to do with the game. This has to do with the NFL, because I just have to go on a little bit of a rant here. Why the hell do they still use chains to check the first down?
I agree.
What the hell? It's $1 trillion business. The NFL is $1 trillion business. They trot out 2 60-year-old guys with a chain you could buy at Home Depot that's 10 yards, and that's what they use to check the first down marker. Right. Can't you get a better technology, NFL? Yeah. Please, I'm imploring you, NFL, please eliminate the chains.
And these...
join the 21st century.
And these 60-year-old guys, they like never seem to be able to get out of the way either.
Yeah.
They always get knocked down.
Maybe that's
oh my
it.
God,
They have
dying.
them. They have them on the sidelines just for the folly of it.
Yeah.
I know. Well, it's all about job preservation. You know, it's all about job.
So it's a union job. They
I'm
can't
sure
actually get rid of them.
I wouldn't doubt if it wasn't a union job.
Oh my God!
Does anybody know that? Like SEIU, Service Employees International Union, or
I don't know
like
because
that?
I mean, even the referees aren't unionized.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. But you always talk about that. I think it's hilarious. I think you're right.
That drives me nuts.
Yeah,
it drives me nuts. It's It's a 10-yard chain.
Yeah.
Held by 60-year-old men.
Yeah.
On the sideline.
And I always feel like, how do they know when they run across half a football field that they've run straight?
Yeah.
Well, you know how they know. They actually have there's a clink on one of the yard and they know where to set it.
It's a clink.
Okay.
It's a clink.
It's literally like you know how they have the flags. It's just on one of the links. They put it right in the link.
Yeah. Okay, whatever.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you can watch
now,
the
who
game.
knows if the line is straight, to your point.
You can watch real-time analytics on Amazon Prime, like everything you ever wanted to see computerized about football, but they still got to trot out the chains.
It's really unbelievable. $1 trillion business with 40-cent chains.
All right, let's grade the D real quick, and then we'll get to some other stuff here. Schwaber, grade the D.
Well, you know what?
This is a hard one.
I'll tell you what. I actually was listening to some sports radio on the way in here, and I heard a lot of D's and a lot of F's on the defense. But I'm going to go better than that. I'm going to give them a C. They did have 3 turnovers.
Yeah,
that
alone.
They were mostly good in the red zone. They just, look. I mean. At the same time, I get it. I mean, you're paying this defense to be able to stop the other team with 4 minutes left, and they didn't do it.
Right.
But at the same time, I mean, I thought, look, here's the way I look at it. I mean, so what'd they lose the game? Was it 20-17?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My feeling is in this NFL, where the passing game is so prominent.
Right.
If you hold a team to 20 points, you should win the game.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to give them a C just because they didn't stand up when they needed to. But overall, I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Mark. I think that they gave up way too many yards, which is why I'm dropping from a B or a B, because they were getting run on all the time. They were getting passed on at will. But when it came down to getting into the red zone, they really held their own. I wish they would have made one more stop and then they would have won the game, but they didn't. And that's just unacceptable with the defense that's supposed to be elite. This defense was not elite last night. They were more like, okay. And that's honestly why they lost the game.
See, I disagree with you both. I give them a B or a B plus. And the reason I do that is because they did have 3 turnovers, and for that last touchdown that the Cowboys scored, they caused a fumble, that a Landon Roberts jump over the line. They just weren't able to. You're talking about 4 straight plays from the 2-yard line. They stopped them on 3, caused a turnover on one of them that they couldn't recover, and they were tired. Plus, they blocked the field goal. Yeah, I know that's defensive special teams, but hold on. Let me finish. The offense did not deliver, and that's more to Mark's point. What I'm saying is the defense did what they were supposed to do. They held the Cowboys to 20 points. They created 3 turnovers. They had multiple sacks. They blocked a field goal. In the NFL, if you're the Chiefs and your defense does that, you win by 10 points or more. If you're the Commanders right now and your defense does that, you might win by 20 points or more. I give them a B. They didn't play perfectly, but I'll tell you what, man, they came to play. The offense did not come to play. The running game was a disaster. And I was hitting you guys up after the Commanders game. Everybody who watches the Porch on a regular basis knows I am a recovering Washington Redskins fan. And I watched my first Commanders game yesterday.
How many days sober?
14 years, brother.
14 years.
14 years. Well, that's real sober. Sorry.
No, I meant from the Redskins.
From the Redskins.
0 days.
Since they got rid of the name. So
what's that, 3 years?
Yeah, 4 years, whatever. I'm working on it. Okay. So anyway,
here's your chip.
I watched the Commanders. And well, let me go to Mike Lawrence's comment here. We got 3 turnovers and blocked field goal and could not score more points. Wonder how many teams lose with exactly, Mike. He probably said that before I said it. That last Dallas drive was pitiful defense. I get it. But I'm gonna tell you this, guys, right now. The Washington Commanders have a better offensive line than the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Washington Commanders have 3 running backs, Eckler, Robinson, and a guy named McNichols. All 3 of them are better than the Steelers running backs.
I don't think that the Steelers offensive line has been bad at all.
Exactly. No, but the Commanders offensive line is better.
No, they're only better because they have 3 running backs to run. We had 1 running back to run last night, and that was the problem. And it's the same freaking problem on defense. Herbig got injured early. He got out. And they're still missing what's his face from the very first game, Highsmith from the first game. So who they got? Some third round pick over there against Watt.
Roman Wilson.
No, Roman Wilson played great.
Yeah,
but he needs to be starting because Orlando Roberts is garbage.
Yeah.
He needs to play with Patrick Queen. He needs to be
Landon Roberts is garbage?
Yes, he's absolute garbage.
Except for that one play. But
well, if they would have gotten the fumble, then I would say no. But he didn't even get the fumble.
Okay.
He punched it out, and Minka jumped in behind him instead of going after the fucking ball.
Yeah.
And neither of them got the ball. You know who did? Dak did.
Yeah.
And Dak's not very good with getting fumbles.
Yeah.
By the way.
That's true.
But he did. And that's why they won the game.
Okay, so defense, you guys gave C's, I gave a B.
See, the crazy thing about this game is if they stop the last play of the game, essentially the pass to Torbert.
Yep.
If they stop that pass.
Tolbert.
Yeah. If they stop that pass.
Hubert.
If they stop that pass.
Oh, yeah, I love Hubert.
If they stop that pass, they're 4-1. And it's a much different conversation.
True.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's exactly how I'm bringing it full circle back to the Tomlin way of football, is that if you're going to play the game of winning by inches, you leave yourself open to losses like that.
Yep. Every game. That's
right.
Absolutely right, Mark.
Yep.
That's absolutely right.
We've talked about this for years.
Comes down to one play, and either you make it or you don't. And that's the way Tomlin wants to play. He was happy to have that be the last play of the game. He wasn't happy with the results, but that's exactly where he wanted that team at that point in time.
Yep. I was thinking
by the way, on a lighter side, are you aware that on the previous play, Tolbert had sprained his nuts.
Yeah. Did he really? No,
I was not aware. He really did.
He was running off with his hand in his nuts.
That was honestly what happened.
Yeah.
His nuts landed on the ball. And so he caught a game-winning touchdown pass with sprained nuts.
Wow.
I give that.
I put that one on my resume.
I give that an A+. That's an A+. Spraining,
great insight there, Mark.
Spraining your nuts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. You can catch the Sports Porch podcast. We drop it right after the show. It is this show in podcast form on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or as Jack Nicholson would say, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts.
Jack Nickel.
Yoho Son. Yoho Son's back.
What does Yoho Son have to say? Yoho Son says Pickens looked like a crybaby ass at the end of the game. Go back and start from the beginning, Kerry.
He did. We agree with you, Yoho.
Yeah, we 100% agree with you. We talked about that. And if you're watching us live, thank you. We are live every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. all over the world on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and Instagram. Drop comments. communicate with us, follow the podcast, leave us a review. That would be great. Now we're going to go on to NFL predictions. That's pretty easy. We pick 3 games, the Thursday night game, Sunday night game, and then a Sunday day pick'em game.
Mystery game.
Last week, Mark was 1-2. Steve was 1-2. Chris was 1-2. So Mark is now 9-3. Steve is 7-5. And Chris is 3-9. I'm telling you, I'm going to win.
You're coming up. You're coming up. Let's go. So
you
can catch me this week. Let's go.
The Grand Schwalbini had a bad week, but lost no ground.
That's exactly right. And for all intents and purposes, I had a good week and gained no ground.
Right.
No, you always get one right.
That is true. Well, it's the law of averages.
Because we forgot to do week 1.
So the first game is Sunday night. Bengals at Giants. Who's your winner? Drop a comment. Let's go with Hockey Jesus here. Bengals at Giants.
I really like the way the Bengals played against the Ravens. They should have actually won that game.
Yep.
But when you got a rookie holder, anything can happen. I think they'll fire the rookie holder and they'll beat the Giants with a field goal at the end of the game.
Yeah, this is a Bengals win. I'm actually saying, even though they're at 1-4, I don't put the Bengals out of it.
They're out of it.
I don't think so.
6% chance. You heard it.
But, it's going to happen at some point.
Well,
6% of the time.
6% of the time.
HJ is always on the Bengals, isn't he? It's
and
great.
I'm usually right.
I'm not saying
so
you're wrong.
far, my prediction about them Joe Burrow never making another Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it's been true.
I mean, that's not a hard prediction.
How much?
Oh, dude, everybody after that first Super Bowl, they're like, oh, he'll be back. He'll win one.
Yeah.
How much, though, would you love to have Joe Burrow be the quarterback of the Steelers?
As much as I would love Jalen Hurts to be the quarterback of the Steelers.
Yeah, a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want Jaden Daniels.
No?
Nope.
Okay.
Or CJ Stroud.
I am going with
I'm not on this team.
Yeah.
Not on this team.
I mean, that different systems, different whatever. Let's stick to the predictions here, boys. I think the Giants are on to something here.
You do?
Yeah.
What are they on to?
What are they on to? Are they on to beating Cincinnati? That's all we really care about.
No,
are they on to Daniel Jones is suddenly going to become a good quarterback?
Yeah, I think Malik Neighbors is pretty good. No,
he didn't play last week.
This is the Giants. This is the Giants at home. I'm actually going to go with the Bengals. I think they're going to win this game.
All right.
It's a must win.
That's your one win for the week.
Sunday nighter.
It's a must win. All right. Let's go on to the
this is
let's do the Thursday night game. We usually start with that. Thursday, 49ers at the Seahawks. What is your winner?
How about the 40-winers being 2-3?
2-3.
Oh, they're just looking disgusting.
Yeah, they look bad.
Boy, Brock Purdy. Oh, he just
you boys starting Purdy again this week?
I heard he was walking up the steps of the Hall of Fame and he fell.
It's one game.
Somebody did say HOF.
Joe, I said Hall of Fame. He will be in the Hall of Fame. And Joe Montana had a bad game every now and then and didn't win the Super Bowl.
So he's Joe Montana.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
Say that. No, I did not. I said even
like that to me.
I said even Joe Montana had a bad game every now and then.
Okay, mm-hmm. All right.
What was I going to say? What's this? Happy birthday, Forrest.
I don't know. I wish it was my birthday.
I don't know, but seriously. Sylvia, thanks
for the birthday wishes, Sylvia, even though it's nobody's birthday.
49ers at Seahawks. And I have to question my fantasy football GM here. Why would we go with our backup quarterback? Why would we do that? CJ's our starter.
Well, but CJ was playing a good team.
And he played well.
He did. And I thought that Brock Purdy would carve up the crappy Arizona Cardinals, and he just didn't.
He did not.
Never go with the backup quarterback.
You're
Always
right.
Go with your starter.
You're right. He's a backup. That's what I need to remember. He's a backup.
You play him on the bye week.
He's a backup.
That's why he's there.
He's a backup Hall of Fame quarterback.
All right. 49ers. Who's your winner, HJ?
49ers no. He has to go first.
Okay, go ahead.
The Grand Schwalbini has
right. And the Seahawks, Seahawks lost to the Giants this week.
Yes.
They did.
That's why I was kind of iffy on the Bengals thing, but
these are always a close game. It's like Pittsburgh, Baltimore,
I'll take the Seahawks at home.
I mean, it's not a bad pick. I probably would have done it if you didn't, but since you did, I'm going to go 49ers.
All right, HJ's going for it.
I think it's a pick'em game, really.
Yeah.
It is a pick'em game, and I'm going Seahawks because this is a situation in which the Seahawks feel like this is a must win. Because if you can beat the 49ers at home, and now they're 2-4, and they're playing from further behind,
and the Seahawks would be 4-2.
That's exactly right. This is like we have to start putting the nails in the coffin now. So they have all the motivation in the world, just like
they just don't have the
Niners.
talent to do it.
Yeah, they don't. But McCaffrey's not playing. I mean,
Hasn't played all season.
Purdy hasn't played up to par. The last few games. I'm taking the Seahawks. Okay, Sunday game is this is a good one. Lions at the Cowboys. Who's your winner?
Is that a 4:00 game or a 1:00 game?
1 o'clock.
1:00 game. That's
Is
up to you, Grant.
Sure, yeah.
I'm going to take the Lions. I don't believe in the Cowboys without their defense.
I think the Lions are really good.
No,
team.
excuse me, 425. 425. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that means I can't watch it because that's when the Steelers are going to be on. That sucks.
Okay, so who did you pick?
That's
again?
why I was asking. I wanted to see if it
Lions?
was a game I could watch.
Lions.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Mark's going with Lions.
God, I do like the Lions. I think the Cowboys don't really need to win this game, but they are playing at home and they haven't really won at home. I'm going to take the Cowboys. That's probably a bad pick, but I'm going to do it.
I think the Cowboys are coming off a tough road win that came down to the last seconds, and the Lions, man,
They're a juggernaut.
This is a total pick'em game too. But I think Dan Campbell is the wild card in this. He puts them over the top. So
Yeah.
I'm going with the Lions.
I don't know how they are on the bye week. Are they Andy Reid like or not?
I don't know.
It's a small sample,
No
I guess.
Yeah.
Because
No
he
idea.
has 3 years in the
3
league.
years or something.
Yep.
He's probably like 1-1.
All right, those are our picks for the week. We'll catch up with them next week. You're watching the Sports Porch Black and Gold all over the world on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X, as well as the Instagram. And we're going to drop the podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your freaking podcasts. Now, you want to do HJ now?
I would like to talk about the Pitt Panthers.
Oh, yeah. Let me do one quick thing about the Pirates.
Mm.
They got rid of their hitting coach. Yay. There it is. Okay. Well, everybody was screaming all year long, get rid of the hitting coach. Well, they got rid of the hitting coach, just not the
Did
manager.
they bring the good guy up from the minor league?
I don't know. But that's the Pirates news. Okay. We'll get to it. We'll start next year
What a
with false
joke
hope
of a
one more
franchise.
time. I know. Absolutely. So yes, let's talk about the Pitt Panthers. 5-0. What did you say? Beat North Carolina for the first time ever?
For the
North
first
Carolina?
time ever, they won in North Carolina this past weekend. Eli Holstein is really a great quarterback. He's unbelievable. This guy can just either throw it or run it whenever he wants to on any team. Now, granted, they've played Kent State. They did win it at Cincinnati. That was their biggest win, beating your biggest rival in West Virginia. Then, of course, Youngstown State, which isn't a real team, and then at North Carolina. But they've got two big games coming up at home. University of California is making its way to Pitt Stadium for the first time. Well, it's not Pitt Stadium. It's really Acrisure. But and Syracuse is coming in the week after that. This is the make or break for the Pitt Panthers. Look, they're ranked 22 in the nation.
Yeah, that's encouraging.
And if they win the ACC, they're going to go to a bowl game. So
Right.
that would be pretty impressive, which means they'd have to beat Clemson, which is probably improbable. But they would, no matter what, they're going to have to beat Clemson at some point. They actually play them November 16th in Pitt. So get your tickets now.
Yeah.
But they got to beat they got to get through these trap games. Cal, Syracuse. If they can do that, I think they got a pretty good chance.
Well, if they get through those, they end up 7-0.
7-0 will definitely turn some heads, and maybe Penn State will want to play us again in 12 years.
Penn State. Yeah, maybe. All right.
Who also, by the way, are like 5-0, but they're like ranked 4th in the nation.
Yeah.
Well,
thanks to Alabama losing.
Well, they beat everybody except Michigan and Ohio State.
Yeah.
Right.
And
unfortunately, they still have to play them.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Hail to Pitt. Let's move on to
GP.
Hockey Jesus. Now, what is Hockey Jesus? Well, it's that gentleman across from me in the studio. You can follow Hockey Jesus on YouTube at Sports Porch Podcast, the Sports Porch Podcast on our YouTube channel. After every single Penguins game, Hockey Jesus hops on the air and he drops some knowledge about the game and how he feels. He hasn't missed a game in 2 years.
Joy to the
And
world.
Wednesday night, we're starting the regular season, but you do have a preseason debut you're going to talk about tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, I'm going to debut the preview of what I think the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to do this year. So you're going to have to stay tuned for that. The interesting thing about this year is they start the year off in the first 10 games. They play 7 teams who are expected to make the playoffs in the first 10 games.
Right.
That's a challenge, a significant challenge for this team. And they'll be doing it presumably without Brian Rust, who went on the IR. But however, Rutger McGroarty did make the roster. And it looks like he'll probably be playing on the third line. Some people are a little upset about that. They think that he belongs, in the top 6. But let's face it, he's not fast enough to skate with Sid. They got Anthony Beauvillier to skate with Sid. Personally, I hate Anthony Beauvillier. I think he's a terrible hockey player. But man, that guy can skate. He's fast. So we'll see how he does on the first line. Probably that means DLC will be up on the first line until Rusty gets healthy. And the second line, it's Gino, essentially. It's Gino and Rax. They'll be on the second line with Bunning. Bunning's the new guy that we got for who's that guy that we had for a while that played with Sid? You remember his name? See, nobody even remembers. Oh, yeah, Jake Gensel. That's right. They traded him for him. So
Bunning did play
I thought you were serious there for a second. I was like, how does he not know this guy?
No, Bunning did play well.
I'm playing along with you guys. I know you listen to the Hockey Jesus, so
of course we do.
I know you know about the Pittsburgh Penguins.
He's not Jake Gensel, but Bunning did play well.
The great thing about Bunning is he adds a net front presence. He adds a little bit of grit, and he'll be great on the second power play. I have no doubt about it. Actually, I personally think that the second power play might be better than the first power play because they're going to do the right things. They're going to put somebody in front of the net. Somebody's going to shoot it. It's going to deflect off of 4 things and bounce in. Mm-hmm. While, what the first team's going to do? Cross ice pass, deflected, shoot it down the other end. Mm-hmm. Drives me fucking nuts. But hey, that's for another time.
But at least it's not sprained nuts.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. But I promise you I would bounce back if I did sprain my nuts during a podcast.
That entire sentence there just kind of made my nuts hurt a little bit.
Just grab a hold of them. They'll be fine. So I guess what I'm trying to say is you're going to learn a lot about the Pittsburgh Penguins in their first 10 games. I think I have them going something like 4-6 or something like that, which I think is actually pretty good. Because of the stretch they're on. They're actually going to go out to the West Coast. They're going to play at Winnipeg, at Calgary, at Edmonton, and at Vancouver in this stretch in the first 10 games. That's pretty brutal to have to do in the first 10 games, but they're going to have to learn to do it. I'm psyched. This is my time of year. I'm just so excited. I'm going to be at the home opener Wednesday night. So
what time are you going to get down to the barn?
Well, I'm going to go a little early. Got to stop at the Super Bowl. Everybody knows that's my place.
Okay.
Super Bowl. I'm going to be there with the counselor. The counselor is going to be there.
Counselor's on hand.
And we're going to be at the game together. Well, we're not actually sitting together, but we'll be at the game together. So I'll got to hightail it back to do the Hockey Jesus. It probably is going to be another 1 a.m. flight.
Might the Archbishop be making a stop?
No.
Okay.
All right. That's HJ. You can follow HJ on the Sports Porch podcast on YouTube and, of course, on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. What we're going to do now is we're going to stump the Yinzer. What it is Steve has Yinzer blood. He's got DNA pierogies in his DNA.
Right there.
We ask a question of our resident Yinzer Hockey Jesus, and then we ask our resident non-Yinzer, the Grand Schwabini.
I got the title back last week.
You did get the title back. Whoever gets it right becomes the Yinzer. This week, in honor of hockey season, the question is, which season did Mike Lang become the Penguins play-by-play guy?
Whoa.
There you go, brother.
That's a rough one.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't the original season, I can tell you that. So it wasn't 1967. I think he came by in this is a total guess, but I'm going to say 1972.
Interesting. I think it's going to be a bit later than that.
It might be.
I'm going to say...
If I was guessing, I would go later.
I'm going to say he put the headphones on in 1981.
No, that's too late.
The title does not change hands this week, but both of you were wrong.
So let's do higher or lower.
Well, okay.
1976 was my next guess.
Okay, well, it was lower, 1974, 75. I had already put it up on the screen. I think Schwabert already saw it. So,
well, you would have been over Price is Right rules.
Yeah, Prices. Yeah. You were already out.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so what season did Mike Lang become the play-by-play guy? 1974.
74, 75.
1975. My buddy from York, Jeff Paulus, in the house. Hey, all. Sorry I got here late. No problem, Jeff. Just subscribe to the podcast on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts, and you can listen to it anytime you want.
It'll pop right up in your in bin.
Okay, it is time for one of our favorite, what do we call it? Bits.
It's snack time.
It is, yes.
Taste the biscuit.
There it is. Snack time.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
Mm-hmm.
Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with that honey sauce.
Love that sauce.
Get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way you eat with my chicken wings.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, everybody, it is. Yes, it is Trader Joe's snack time. And what does that mean? Well, everybody knows I work at Trader Joe's. They are not paying us for this, so it's not an official sponsorship, but they did give me permission to do it. Every week I try to bring home a snack or something from Trader Joe's. We give it a little sample. We give our honest opinion. And if you like it, hit Trader Joe's and buy it. If you don't, well, then don't buy it. This week, we are sampling. This is actually... I'll tell you the story here. Coffee panna cotta.
It's not much different than rice pudding.
Is that kind of like a little play on creme brulee?
Panna cotta. Have you had panna cotta?
Panna cotta. It's
No.
like it's like rice pudding.
I've never had panna cotta in my life.
You've never had panna cotta in your life?
No.
Okay, so it is kind of, it's not a play on creme brulee.
No, it's firmer. It's like a loose sponge cake.
It looks like creme brulee a little bit.
No.
Well, it's not creme brulee. It is.
I do like coffee.
It isn't as custardy as creme brulee.
Just give me a fork.
Yeah,
It's a panna cotta.
It's a panna cotta is what it is. Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
I prefer my panna cotta with a spoon.
I can't,
just so you know,
it's good. I'm telling you, I have actually had it. So
You have.
yeah.
Oh, so he's already had it.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Come on, Mark, dig in there.
It's
Come
a
on
dessert.
now.
Panna cotta, Trader Joe's snack time, coffee panna cotta.
What do you think? Oh, don't say anything. Make sure I get some first.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yep.
Right there, people.
Yeah.
It's a panna cotta.
It's kind of messy now.
That's okay. I didn't spill any on my compooper.
You've had panna cotta, right?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yep.
It's actually fairly close to pumpkin pie.
The consistency is what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's like a soft cheesecake, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's delicious.
I give thumbs down.
Okay.
You give it thumbs down?
Yeah, I'm not
a big fan of that coffee flavor.
I could understand people liking that, but it's just not really for me.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I think it's got great coffee flavor, but the texture is like, eh.
Yeah, it's kind of
it's a good panna cotta.
I like the coffee flavor, but it has me really wanting a cafe mocha and not a panna cotta.
All right, gotcha.
Something you'd throw in the blender and turn into a coffee drink.
Yeah, I mean,
we could always try that.
It's okay. To me, it's like a dessert that's trying too hard.
Okay, with the coffee.
It's like a rich man's pudding.
How about
that?
Like it's like you're trying too hard. It's not necessary.
Rich man's pudding.
How about you, buddy?
Oh, I give it a thumbs up. Yeah, I like
Okay.
this. If this was around as a dessert, I would try it and I would enjoy it, and I have.
Yes, and here you go. It's heated heavy cream set with flavoring and powdered gelatin. Thank you, Mike Lawrence.
Look at the Jeff Paulus
Yep,
quote. Something
yep.
you wouldn't find at Wawa.
No, you would not find coffee
No,
panna cotta
no
at Wawa.
panna cotta at Wawa.
And as far as I'm concerned, if you did
Or
find
sheets.
it,
Or sheets.
yeah, if you did find coffee panna cotta at Wawa, I'd put it up there with gas station sushi.
Gas
You know what
station
I mean?
sushi,
Like,
yeah.
you're not gonna.
That would be the dessert you would have with your gas station sushi.
Yeah, that's right. You would have
Absolutely.
gas station sushi and then gas station panna cotta.
Mhm.
Wawa panna cotta.
All right, guys, that does it for Trader Joe's Snack Time.
Taste the
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Yeah. Taste that honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with that honey sauce. 1, 2, 3, 4. That honey sauce on me. That's right. You don't like the way it tastes. What? Chicken wings.
All right, thanks, guys. Sports Porch, Black and Gold, every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and Instagram. And dropping the podcast in a few minutes right after this show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. And something we haven't talked about in a while. What's our website? theporchislive.com, theporchislive.com.
theporchislive.com.
Yeah, we're going to have to get back to doing that. All right, last segment of the night,
Been a while.
guys. Last segment of the night. What we are watching. You want to describe it, Schwaber?
Well, there's just so much to choose.
So many things.
So many streaming services. Hulu, Amazon Prime, Netflix, Max, Apple Plus TV,
Oh, my goodness.
Freebie.
Fubu.
Tubi?
Just start with some letter that's there.
Yeah. What? I want to know, like, when
Freebie.
the first time you ever heard of Tubi,
Tubi. Mm-hmm.
what did you think it was?
I thought was.
I'm hearing it for the first time right now.
Are you?
And what
so
are you thinking?
what are your thought process?
You're thinking it's a
Tubi.
streaming service?
Tubi. It's a streaming
I'm
service.
thinking it's a streaming service that focuses on the Teletubbies.
Not bad.
He's
That's pretty
exactly
good.
right.
That's
he's
pretty good.
He's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was something else, but okay. I digress. So what are we going to do? Well,
Am I
we're
actually right about that?
no.
No. I don't think the Teletubbies are
Yes.
on Tubi.
Yes.
But if they are, they would be.
Tinky Winky, Dipsy.
Wow.
Boo.
I'm sorry for your childhood.
Oh my God. It wasn't my childhood. It was my children's childhood. Save the comments for later. Okay. So,
Ditto.
tonight, the Grant Schwabini and I each have something we watched.
Well, I watched something. I'm just not allowed to talk about
Steve's working on something because you have to either have completed the entire movie if you watch a movie, which means even if it's horrible, like supposedly the Joker, A Folly Part 2.
Hey, by the way,
Oh, really?
a little side on that. I mean, I'm sorry to anybody out there, and maybe you guys are too. I'm so sick of superhero movies. Like, here's the thing. Do I have I'm 54.
Congratulations.
Let's say I live another 30 years. I'm fortunate.
Maybe longer.
Do I have to live through like another 4 versions of the Joker?
Probably.
I mean, like,
Probably 8 or 10.
yeah, like, whoever the next big star is has got to be the Joker.
Yeah.
Like, enough already. Stop it.
Well, I think
I see where you're going.
Yeah.
completely.
If
yeah.
it's the same movie over and over again.
Yeah.
But if they're furthering the story, I don't mind that.
I'm just not into it.
Well, here's the thing. It seemed like in the past, when you talked about like the Tim Burton Batman,
Right.
and then years went by, and then it was the Christopher Nolan Batman. Okay. But then all of a sudden, then DC has to do their Ben Affleck Batman. And then it's Robert Pattinson Batman.
Right.
And then it's the Marvel. This and the Marvel. It's like they're just speeding up because they want to generate the cash. I didn't mind the story being reinterpreted, every 15 or 20 years.
15 or 20 years.
Right,
Okay.
right. But now it's kind of like, well, which one do you want to believe?
Right. So
I had
every 5 years.
I had a buddy at work who told me that I need to watch the most recent Batman with Robert Pattinson playing Batman because he thought it was almost almost as good, not as good, but almost as good as The Dark Knight and the Christopher Nolan one. He piqued my interest, but like I'm not ready for that yet. So I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as fortunate enough to live another 30 years, I mean, that's all like perception, buddy. Do you really want to live another 30 years?
If I'm healthy.
What I want to know is will we be fortunate if Mark lives another 30 years?
Well, yeah, I would say because he'll be healthy.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, he'll just take himself out.
I mean, question.
He'll find a way to.
He
get
doesn't
out.
have the sprained nuts. To
Well,
take
I would say Amy would take him out, but she's much too kind.
Yeah,
to do
there's
that.
no way she would do that.
She
No,
might.
no.
She might. She's got a dark side.
She's been watching some Batman lately.
He stole my thunder because I was going to say, now my wife, on the other hand, I could be dead tomorrow, and you guys probably
true.
wouldn't know. And she has,
Or not know.
she has the knowledge on how to dispose of a body, and you will never ever find it.
And
She's explained it to me.
I would love to watch that show that she watches to be able to learn that.
Yeah, no, she doesn't watch a show.
Well, the problem that the problem that she has now,
dear,
the problem that she has now is now that you told us that
yeah,
we're going to be on Dateline.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
he said, I mean, we thought he was just joking around.
If anything ever happens to me,
But he did just say, if anything ever happens to me, it was her.
And listen to this obscure podcast
right.
well,
from 2024.
the one thing that I would follow that up with is, if anything ever happens to me, it was her, but it was clearly my fault.
Oh, we already know it's your fault. Like,
let's just get her off the hook.
Yeah, she's not going anywhere.
Point taken.
There you go.
You did deserve it.
All right. We're over an hour now. What are we watching? Well, Schwaber. Good Lord, I think I totally screwed this up here.
Yeah.
What else is new?
No, we expect that.
Yeah, Mark is what? This is such an old show, but it's good. Mark is watching.
Whoa.
Okay, guys.
Wow,
24.
he's going backwards. You never do this.
Now this was a feat.
Like 8-9 seasons.
I finished the entire thing. 204 episodes.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's a lot.
204 episodes. Took a couple months.
It only took 24 hours.
Took a couple months. And I'll tell you what, it was a really good show. I mean, here's the thing.
Kiefer Sutherland, come on.
Yeah, I mean, look, is it like, would I ever put it on a top 10 list of shows? No. Because there were too many times where it was just kind of like
same old.
Hey, they saved the world. Oh no, this happened. Now we're all gonna die. Oh wait, we saved the world this other way. Oh wait, this happened now, and now we're still all gonna die. Oh wait, you know what I mean? Like so,
if they do that twice, it's okay. The sixth time, a little much.
They do it a lot, but I will say that it was just it was a very entertaining, fun watch. Honestly, I think that even the last season was just as good as the first season. I mean, it was
wow.
It was pretty good. I mean, just a really good, enjoyable watch. I love anything with CIA, FBI, CTU, that kind of stuff, terrorism, fighting terrorism.
What's CTO, counterterrorism?
Right. So I really enjoyed it. I mean, look, it doesn't have the chops of something like The Americans or Homeland or anything like that, but it's a fun watch.
It was actually the show that kind of spawned all of those shows,
and it might have done that.
Yeah. It was groundbreaking at the time because every episode is 1 hour,
right?
So and like you said, I think you were reviewing an earlier season. You're like, they can't possibly do all this in 1 hour,
right? I mean, it's kind of like so many, like 6 months worth of events happen in an hour.
Yeah. I know. I watched it when it was actually on television.
Yeah, you used to watch it religiously.
Yeah, and I watched the entire series, and for me at the time, it was one of my favorites. I don't know that I could rewatch it though, and I am a rewatcher.
The thing that I did find interesting about it was that, like, in all honesty, like I really do believe like the last season was just as good as the first season.
Yeah, I didn't think that.
I felt like it never got worse. If anything, it might have even got better as it moved along.
That's interesting.
And so it did kind of raise the question to me, like, why did they stop? And I guess what it is like, it's just different. Like if you're streaming and you just keep going and going and going, you lose track of time. I think probably what it was just, over like 13 years, losing my voice, over 13 years, you probably just, people got tired of it.
Well,
yeah,
and
I bet that's what it was.
And it was also I
it
think
was a ratings thing.
Because at some point you're like,
Right.
look, there's no way you can save the world from a nuclear bomb every single time.
Right.
Like it's never going to happen every single time.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so I took my selfish watching out of the equation this week, and actually over the last few. Oh, here's another comment on 24. Mike Lawrence: Kiefer's cell phone works no matter where the hell he is. Decent show, though. You're right.
We haven't had electricity in 15 days, but my cell phone still works.
I will tell you what the most common phrase is on 24. Basically, whenever something is going wrong, Kiefer Sutherland goes, "Damn it."
Very well said. Very well said. Okay.
That says it all.
Meaningless tidbit, but Kiefer Sutherland was an Expo fan. Thanks for that, Jeff. Appreciate it.
You're right. That is very meaningful.
Yeah, but it's meaningful to Jeff because he was the only Expos
we know
fan
about his love for the Expos.
On the planet.
Yes. De Montreal.
I watched The Perfect Couple on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think?
Yep.
So you were the last one to watch it, right? Mark,
Yeah.
you watched it?
Yeah.
I watched it. Yeah.
Now, full disclosure, my wife wanted to watch it, so it made my selfless watching a lot easier.
A lot easier, yeah.
But it wouldn't have been on my radar. It would not have been on my radar, except you guys said,
gotta watch it.
I was not as impressed as you guys.
Did you figure it out?
Really?
Did you figure it out?
No, I did not.
I thought it was like the other one. Like who
the
was
other the other girl.
Yeah.
No, it was
well, let's not spoil it for our fans.
It was the right. Let's not spoil.
Yeah,
anyway, it was. I did not figure it out until like the last episode. Then I was like, I think somewhere before they made it obvious, I was kind of like, oh wait, it's probably
this way, yeah.
And then it ended up being that, but I did not find it to be as engaging. I thought the characters were not fully developed.
Didn't you think that Liev Schreiber he did a good job of playing like a creep, but he was just like really like, I don't know, like
somebody you weren't rooting for him.
I felt like it was bad acting, but good acting too.
Yes.
It was just weird.
Yeah.
He played a weird role.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
He was kind of fluffy.
Right.
It was, that's the best way to put it.
Well, I mean, after you see him in Ray Donovan, it's pretty easy to get fluffy.
Yeah. But the way you guys were describing it as he was a drug addict and a drunk, like, yes, he was, but it wasn't as bad as I necessarily thought. I thought Nicole Kidman at times, I felt like she was actually not acting. Like she's probably that way in real life because she deals with publicists and attorneys. Not that she's not a nice person, but
not that we would ever know.
And she is fantastic in everything she does, and probably in my world the second hottest woman on the planet, our age anyway. I mean, she's beautiful.
Lauren Klein, the number one.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, she knows that. Lauren
I mean,
Klein
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, she knows that. So I think the storyline.
What didn't resonate with you?
Yes. Where did you fail?
Yeah.
I did not feel,
because I'm sure Lauren loved it.
No, she felt the same way I did. She was actually
you know what?
Well, because you said it was the Liev Schreiber thing.
This is what it was.
Yeah.
This is what it was. You fell victim to the overhype.
Potentially.
That's what you did. You fell victim to the overhype. If you had found it on your own and made it your own little discovery, your own little baby, and you were able to nurture it, you would have told us it was great.
You're gonna love this.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
You fell victim to the overhype.
Maybe. I mean, I watched Peaky Blinders after you, and you really hyped it, and I thought it was just as good as what you said. So I try not to fall victim to overhype. It's not that I don't, but I think it wasn't quite as suspenseful as I thought. I thought that the cops that were investigating the attempts at humor were kind of stupid, and they were all over the place.
Well, the cops were all over the place.
Yeah, and they were supposed
Fair
to
enough.
be.
They were supposed to be. They were supposed to be campy. That's what the role they were playing.
I'm gonna leave it with this. This is what I'm gonna leave it with. I think this series could have been much better had it had maybe 2 or 3 more episodes.
They left meat on the bone.
That's right. They left too much meat on the bone.
It's a lot to unpack.
That's right. And it sprained my nuts. There you go.
Well, hopefully you can get up from it.
That's right.
Thank you for watching. We still have 2 big yeses for the perfect couple and 1 sourpuss.
All right, guys, that's it for the Sports Porch Black and Gold edition this week. I want to thank you if you've been watching the video live on Facebook all over the world, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. And of course, I am going to drop this podcast in about 15 minutes right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts.
Taylor Swift's in the house.
All righty, guys.
Thanks
have a good week,
Mike.
Jeff. Thanks for watching. For the Grand Schwabini, Hockey Jesus, I'm your TD, and I am out. Woo! Jablonsk.
Jablonsk.